Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Quigley on Divorce, a behind-the-scenes look. First of all, I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. This is our second podcast for the new year. Believe it or not, here we are in 2023, and I hope everybody is rejuvenated, had a great holiday season, spent time with family. Today's podcast, I want to kind of dovetail on what the year beginning podcast sort of started, which is this mantra, this theory of moving things forward in a positive direction, taking steps, being proactive, just doing something, right? Again, my philosophy really is there's very little in life we control. There's even less in litigation or in a divorce that you control. But what you do, what effort you put into doing those things, you can control. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus everyone on this year. And so in the new year, what often happens in my practice over the last 30 years is there is a bit of a post-holiday rush. The phone starts ringing. People have made it through the holidays. They've taken their family trip that they had booked 6 months earlier and felt obligated to take, and or didn't really want to disrupt things for the children during the holiday season. And now it's the new year, and we have to move forward. And so I think in that is something positive, in that to start a new year, to take action, to move forward, to take that first step, to call me, to consult, and to say, what do I need to move things forward? I say that it's a positive in the context of those people who have been mired in this mode of paralysis where they've done counseling, they've met with the priest or the minister or the rabbi, and it's clear that the marriage is irretrievably broken. But even in those situations, I've had clients that have said to me, I've been in this situation for years. And there's always some reason to say it's not the right time to move forward, and people get stuck. And so I think the first message is always, if you're not at a point where your marriage is irretrievably broken, then take the steps to get back into counseling or to work harder in counseling, to schedule more date nights, to do whatever you can, because again, the only thing you control is your effort. And that's no different than the effort you put into working at your marriage. It's hard. We grow differently. Our maturity level changes over time. The things that were important 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years may not be as important now, or maybe children are out of the house and we're getting to know our spouse again. And maybe we realize now that we don't have the kids to focus on, that we're going down parallel paths and we're not connecting. Whatever it is, if you are at a place today where there is something wrong in your marriage, do one of two things, but do something, right? Take that step to say, we need to go to a marriage retreat. We need to do some counseling. Do whatever you can effort-wise to try to enhance your marriage, to bring back that flame, so to speak. But if you're at a point where that flame has been smoldered, you've tried the counseling, you've done the retreats, you've talked to religious leaders, friends, tried date nights, you've done everything you possibly can, and you realize you're miserable, maybe your spouse is miserable, and it's not going to change. If you are in that position, then what I'm saying to you is there's never going to be a good time, but you have to take that step. And that, to me, is the importance of that is inertia is a very, very powerful force. We all sort of fall into that, right? Whatever the issue is, we're in a routine, we're in a rut. Mentally, we understand we should make a change, we should do things different, but it's just that power of inertia keeps us paralyzed, keeps us struggling. Every morning, I don't feel like doing this. I'm not going to do this. I know I should get to the gym. I know I should do things differently at work. I know I should start in on this project, but you're stuck. And so the only thing that really helps beat inertia is momentum, right? And the only way you build momentum is by taking a step, by moving forward. You have to change your paradigm, and only you can do that. I can sit here, I could do podcast after podcast after podcast and say the same thing to you, but until you take that step to do something, you'll do nothing. And that's the power of inertia. So I can say that by illustration. I have a woman that I've represented for about the last 2 years. And we just, toward the end of the year, reached a final agreement. Property settlement, her youngest child is about to be emancipated. And I distinctly recall the multiple conversations I had with this client before she even hired me. And she would tell me all of these things that were wrong in her marriage and how it had failed and how unhappy she was and how psychologically abusive her husband was. But she was stuck. And she went through that phase where she stuck it out for the kids. Husband wasn't willing to participate in counseling or anything to try to fix the marriage. And so call after call, we had a number of meetings. She finally took that step. And I remember telling her, I said, you may not understand it now, but you have actually now started the process of moving forward into a positive direction. And it was a tough case, complicated financial issues, again, abuse issues. And for the first time now in almost 2 years, when this comes to a close, my client has the ability to move forward in whatever direction she now wants to take her life. She's in control of her financial future, children off to college, they've done well, they're healthy. And here's a woman that really has a blank canvas to work with. And as long as she keeps moving forward and as long as she keeps taking those strides at self-care, self-improvement, and is able to take this independence and this freedom without an abusive relationship, without the toxic nature of two people being in the same household year after year, just miserable with one another, she can begin to live again. And not everybody, just when they get divorced, is in a position to say, oh, I feel great. Life is wonderful. It's still a process. Divorce is a process, and rebuilding your life is a process. But again, my focus this year, 2023, is really just to try to encourage people not to get divorced. But if your marriage is over, then yes, get divorced. As tough as that process is going to be, as emotionally hurtful as that process is, get through the process, have a plan for yourself. And once you have a plan for yourself after your divorce, do what I'm going to be, again, my mantra throughout the year is do something positive. Do what you control. Put all of your energy and all of your effort into what's that next chapter in my life? How do I make it amazing? Don't let things, no one's going to give you anything. They're not going to give you happiness. It's really about effort. And it's interesting to me, I'll share with you on a personal note, Mass was interesting for me Christmas Eve. Always loved midnight Mass, go with the family. And it was interesting, the priest was talking about peace and where we look for peace in our lives. And it's not something that, hey, if I just get divorced, I'm going to have peace in my life. If I just do this, I'm going to have peace in my life. Whatever your spiritual beliefs are, if you have them, focus on that. Pour energy into that. If that's something that in your life, whether you're Christian or Muslim or Jewish or any other denomination, whatever your belief system is of a higher power, If that's something that's part of your life, turn to that and do the same thing that I'm suggesting. Pour effort into that. And from that, peace will come. Doing service for others, good deeds for others. Even when you've had this traumatic experience, it's been tough, how can you help somebody else? In doing that, again, putting effort into that, good things will come back to you. So, again, I say these things coming from 30 years of experience. I'm not a religious clergy person. I'm not Tony Robbins out, speaking to thousands of people. I don't know the science of this. I just come to you as a divorce lawyer, having done this for 30 years, been married 26 years, so I understand raising 4 children, being married. Everyone has challenges. But what I'm saying to you is focus on what you can control. And if you've been stuck and inertia has a hold of you so that you've been paralyzed, your marriage is over. You are miserable. Your children aren't happy seeing you and your spouse being miserable around one another. Do something to make your life better, and in turn, your children's lives will be better. If you think staying in a miserable marriage, in a miserable household, where mom and dad or 2 spouses aren't exhibiting love to one another in front of children, if you think that's anything other than destructive, I think you're missing it. And again, this is from countless number of anecdotal situations where people have told me, I thought I was doing this for the kids, and then all of a sudden I file for divorce, and my child says to me, what took you so long, Mom? Or what took you so long, Dad? Or I can't believe, you didn't get divorced sooner. Kids pick up on that toxicity, and it weighs them down as well. So it's a new year. I always, people talk about resolutions. I'm not a big resolution guy because to me, everybody who sets a resolution does it for a little while, and then all of a sudden you stop. It has to be a daily walk. And to me, walking requires getting up. Sometimes you're tired, sometimes you're lazy. You stand on your own 2 feet, and then you take that first step. And once you take steps, now you're walking. You got to walk the walk. So if you're in a situation today where this is resonating with you because you are in that situation and you can't move forward, but it's time to move forward, take the first step by calling me. You can call, you can email, check out my website. From time to time on the podcast, I'll tell people my number, my direct extension at my office, 312-621-1225. If I don't pick up, I'll get a voicemail. The voicemail gets emailed to me. I will get your message and I will get back in touch with you. And we can have a conversation. And you can tell me what your issues are. I can tell you how I think I might be able to help move you forward in a positive direction. It's not to say it's going to be easy. Certainly not going to be cheap, right? Some of these complicated matters are expensive. And again, that's even something that holds back people. I can't afford it. Well, the reality is you can't afford not to move forward. Life is short. We all have these experiences and we have these situations. We hear of this or someone in our family, something happens, and you're shocked because we lose people. And we don't know how much time we have, so you want to make the most of it in being productive and being positive and having a positive energy that you exude, and then also then comes back to you. So I encourage you to focus not only as it relates to your marital status, but just life in general. Let's make 23 positive. Even when we're feeling like crap, let's find a way to bring some positive energy into our lives by doing the things we can control. How you think, what you say. Words matter. Words come back to you. There's an energy to that, right? The physical actions you take. What can you control? And those are the kind of things that I'm hoping to start the new year will prompt you to do just that. And I'm available to you. I've got a great team of people here at Beermann. We can handle any type of situation for exactly in a way that's tailored to to your needs. Some people need a fighter, and we need to go to court. I've tried many, many cases. But a lot of people need to have an understanding of what their rights are. They need to understand what the law is, and we need to find the easiest path to make sure people receive what they're entitled to under the law and the facts of their individual relationship in their marriage. And those are things that, again, we have a lot of experience doing, whether it's in a collaborative approach. We've used mediators in a lot of occasions. I've had great mediators that have been on some of my previous podcast episodes. And so there's a plethora of opportunities. So don't think because you're taking a step moving forward to dissolve your marriage that it has to be some kind of a big fight and it has to be a 2-year kind of process, because it doesn't. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and make it seem like it's simple and easy. It can be. But part of going into a process is being educated, being empowered, making sure you understand what your rights are, what obligations you might have. And sometimes that sucks, the reality of that, but you have to hear it and you have to understand it. And then you create a strategy and you move forward. And that strategy should be long-term and it should be short-term. What is it that you're looking to achieve in the process and then after the process? A lot of people don't think about that. They just think, I want to get divorced. But they're not thinking then about what's life after divorce. And oftentimes we recommend people work with psychologists to make sure their mental health is good, that they've got someone coaching them on a day-to-day. Work with a financial planner, somebody that can help them to say, okay, now that you are in control of your finances, here's what it looks like. Here's what you can afford to do. Here's where you might need to, get back to work and supplement some income sometimes, right? But understand what you have financially and what that can provide for you moving forward. So it doesn't just end with saying you're divorced. Then it just starts the next chapter and you've already got the momentum and you keep that going. So I want to repeat that if you're thinking in your marriage, I'm not comfortable, something's not right, get help. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be prideful. Get help. Find someone that can help the two of you reconnect, if that's possible. Because if you go through something and you realize it's just not possible, our differences are irreconcilable or they're irretrievably broken, then you pick up the phone, you give me a call, and we have a conversation, and we start charting a strategy for your future. So, again, I want to make sure everyone understands I'm coming from a point of experience in this. I'm trying not to be preachy. You should not feel bad or worse about thinking about, yes, I've been in this, state of inertia, paralyzed for X number of years, and that somehow makes you bad or wrong. It's none of that. It's very, very common, which is why I'm having this conversation with you, because I think if you understand you're not alone, this is common, and there's actually things that I can do on a starting level just to have a conversation and see where that goes and what kind of help is out there for me. So I wish everyone well. I really do. In your marriages, in your lives, financially, this has been a brutal year and a half, 2 years economically. We're all feeling the pinch of that. And that just adds another layer of stress upon all of us. So I understand times are tough. And notwithstanding that, it's one of those things, the bad cliches, right? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Each one of you, I believe, has a toughness. There's a spirit within you, and it may have been suppressed for some time because of abuse or because of other things in your marriage. Whatever it is, let's bring that part out in 23. So I wish everyone well. I'm here for you. Again, my direct extension is 312-621-1225. And you can always email me as well, jmquigley@beermannlaw.com. Remember, in Beermann, there's 2 E's, 2 N's. And, of course, if you want to just check out my profile on our website, www.beermannlaw.com. Happy to talk to you anytime. Wish you the best. Here's to good things in 2023.